In the F-18 Hornet, the airplane that I spent most of my time in, we had about 1,000 switches, dials, and knobs inside of the cockpit. So, for example, if you wanted your display to be a little brighter, you would just turn that knob just a little bit higher. If you wanted, for example, the airplane to yaw to the left or the right, you would just turn this knob right here over on the left-hand side. If you wanted the airplane to go really fast, you just push this lever really fast forward. If you wanted the houses to get bigger, you'd push the stick down. And if you wanted the houses to get smaller, you would just pull the stick up. You know, in an F-18, you can control almost anything by the knobs and the switches and the dials and the levers sitting inside of the cockpit. But you know, in the entrepreneurial life, sometimes it's not that simple. Sometimes it feels frustrating. You have a vision or a mission or a passion to go out and change the world, and then you meet the resistance that the world gives you, and you wonder, what did I do wrong? But my question for you today is, what if there were a series of switches and dials where if you were simply to turn these in the right direction, you would immediately experience the kind of success that you want, and you would be able to break through barriers? Well, today on the show, we're going to talk about those switches, those dials. In fact, my guest today is going to bring in 6 key metrics that she's learned from coaching hundreds of people to success in the corporate world. We're going to talk about that on the show. EdTalks Live is next. All right, what's up? And welcome back, party people, to EdTalks Live, the most positive place on the planet for insanely implementable ideas. I'm going to say hello to some of you in chat in just a second. By the way, if you haven't said hello, jump in on the right-hand side. Tell me who you are, where you're from, what you do. If you're on Facebook, by the way, that's below in the comment section. And I always talk every week. I have a conversation with somebody who says, Ed, I've watched every episode, but they haven't said hello in chat. So make sure you jump in and join the community. We have an amazing show planned for you today. I've been excited for this. We took a week off last week. I went up to the mountains and disappeared in the snow, okay? And so we didn't have any shows last week, but I've been thinking about this show all week. I'm going to be introducing in just a moment my good friend, Carmen Pizarro. She's going to talk about breaking through high-performance barriers. I just went through an outline of what she's going to be sharing, and I will tell you what you're going to learn in the next 40 minutes or so. I want to learn as well. So I'm going to be a student sitting here with you learning this material. But before I do that, let me jump in and say hello to some of our friends. What's up, Wendell Bugs? Good to see you from Houston, Texas. Hello, Billy. Good to see you. Hoo-yah. Or hoorah. You know, your word, my word. By the way, for those of you who don't know, there's different services have different words when it comes to that. Hello, Diana. Good to see you as well. Hi, Anita. Welcome back. Good to see you as well. And Barry, welcome back to the most positive place on the planet for insanely implementable ideas. So I'm going to bring in my guest, Marie. Hello. Good to see you. How are you?
Good morning, Ed. I am happy and excited to be here with you guys.
So I'm going to do another short introduction. Now, most of you have seen Marie on the show here before, but I'm going to do a quick intro and just tell you, if you haven't met her before, you're about to learn from someone I consider one of the most extraordinary people on planet Earth. She originally came to an event, actually, that I was having here in San Diego. We got into a discussion. She ended up becoming a coaching member. We started working together. And the first business deal that she closed coming out of our coaching together. And by the way, it's common for people who work with me to be successful. But her first deal was, if I remember correctly, was a $450,000 deal. And it was in that moment I realized I was actually dealing with and working with someone special. And she's really gone out to help so many people, especially in the corporate world, to completely transform their careers. Now, in the process, she's discovered that there are those little dials and switches, those little things that you can just turn up. And I will tell you, in full disclosure, this is a topic that is very timely for me. I am looking into 2021, much like you are probably. And I'm like, you know what? This is going to be a great year. Everybody had a hard 2020. 2021's not going to be a lot easier, okay? And I know that sounds a little negative, but if you position yourself on the proper side of the cash register and you're ready to flat out go for it, it could be the best year of your life, okay? So we're going to talk today about some of the barriers that hold people back. But before I do that, welcome to the show. It's so good to have you back again, and an honor to have you on the most positive place on the planet for insanely implementable ideas. How are you?
I am doing great, and I love that saying of being on the right side of the cash register. I want to be on that side the whole time. So thank you for the inspiration. I'm doing great, and
I first heard, it was 11 years ago, I heard Dan Kennedy say, he said this phrase. He said, "You choose what side of the cash register you stand on."
oh my God.
And when he said that, I mean, you talk about a light bulb. I'm like, I started scribbling on a piece of paper. But what I realized over the 11 years after he said that was that the cash register moves. So it wasn't simply a factor of standing on the proper side of the cash register, because once you stood there, it started to move. And so what I added to that was like Wayne Gretzky said, you skate to where the puck is going, not to where the puck is. Your job as a business owner isn't to stand on the side of the cash register where it is. It's to go to the place where the cash register is going. And we're going to talk about that today. So you've been able to identify, and I think you did a very robust study on these things that you're going to be teaching. You've been able to identify 6 core barriers or 6 areas that all successful people have in common. So why don't you start there, and we'll get going on today's topic.
You know what I want to share first is the things that we all do when people hear the term high performance. And this is whether I'm coaching corporate executives or, high level entrepreneurs. And when I say high level, I mean joyful, dedicated, on target, right? When they hear the word high performance, a few things come to mind. Waking up at 5 a.m., doing a lot of work. And the thing that is consistent is working really, really, really hard. And what I have not only found out, I partnered with a high performance institute, and they did a study of 3,000 high performers around the world. My own 1,500 women study on high performance. Our goal is, all right, what happens when you work really, really hard? You're passionate, you go for it, you're on top of your shit all the time. You know what happens 48% of the time? You get burnout. You get burnout. We forget what's important. We lose clarity. We get tired. We start adding other things. We start being distracted. And that was my first discovery on, oh shit, we're doing it wrong.
So just waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning and just having a series of goals and working yourself to the bone doesn't always yield the results. I mean, by the way, it may yield short-term results.
Yes,
but it doesn't yield those long-term results. Or what happens is, and I've experienced this myself, which is you start to go up, then you start to plateau. You can't figure out how to get past that plateau.
Exactly. And the thing is that the way I define high performance, and actually high performance is more of a science within the social sciences aspect, is sustained levels of exceptional performance in all levels, in all areas of your life, including your family, your spirituality, these other things that we tend to forget about, your health, over the long run, right? So that section of the definition, over the long run, to me, it's over the long run until I die. I don't want to not be that or kill myself and have success because I'm teaching all the mistakes I've made. I teach them. I need this for myself, actually. So that's the first thing that I discovered, that the formula that I was doing for myself and teaching my clients was leading all of us to exhaustion and burnout or short-term successes. And I don't know about you. I want long-term stuff, long-term success. So what we did some global surveys, structured one-on-one interviews. We specifically design a series of questions to, what was like in my head is like, what do high performers do differently? And they needed to be happy people, not the asshole that is a CEO making $5 million a year and they're an asshole. I said asshole already, right? So
yeah, that's the
person. Say that.
No, it's just you should just go and say everything you want to say.
All right. So it took a while, but eventually we were able to gather about 50 things. We call them habits, high performance habits. About 50 habits or behaviors that they do consistently. And when I say consistently, some of them once a day.
Huh.
And there were too many to teach, right? Like how do you
teach 50? How do you teach 50 things? And you're trying not to you're trying to create something that's not overwhelming, but
exactly
could be overwhelming. So what did you do? Had to narrow it down, I guess.
So one of the things we did, to be honest, this was not me. I was part of a team, and we hired people that dedicate their life to research. That's all they do. And they say, hey guys, you have to look for habits that are, I have the list here, deliberate, meaning that you do them on purpose. They need to be observable, meaning that another person can see the person performing the habit. They need to be malleable, which means you need to be able to change them and adjust them to the situation. They need to be trainable, which is so cool. You need to be able to train other people on these habits, right? And they need to be able to be effective across the board. Meaning, if you're a plumber, if you're a coach, if you're a consultant, if you're a pilot, it doesn't matter what you do. This will guarantee that you become a high performer on the long run, happy high performer on the long run. So once we started adding these attributes to the habits, we were able to, the list went down significantly to 6. I mean, we kept depurating. This was a 3-year process. We kept depurating and cleaning the list and giving it to the people that really know about this stuff, how to get the data from all the statistics that we had. And we ended up with 6 habits.
6 out of 50. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the habits were, I wrote these down. This is quite good. Deliberate, observable, malleable, trainable, and effective. So
across the board, for everyone, regardless of what they do, effective across the board.
So, and by the way, for those of you who just joined us, and we had a whole bunch of people just join us, by the way. My name is Ed Rush. I'm here with my friend Marie Carmen. We're talking about how to break through and achieve incredible results on 8 hours a day, the time that you have to set aside to not completely dominate your life only with work. And so we're going to talk about those 6, and I have that slide that you sent me whenever you want it, but let's talk about the habits. These are the dials. These are the things that you can turn up or down. And by the way, some great comments. I should just show these real quick. Hi, Sally. Welcome back to the show. Brian Jones said, you choose which side of the cash register you stand on. That could be a show all by itself. And Brian says, I don't know if you have the reference to that work of research that you all did together, which would be great if we could share that at some point. And Diana said something about a topic that she's quite familiar with. She said, it's true about not tilling the land. You work hard at tilling, but it's better not to till and kill all the living microorganisms. And it really is true. Wow. The point that you made, which is, and I've been very cognizant about this as a coach. I know you are as well. When I started out as a business advisor, basically I was giving people more work, and they signed up for that. So it wasn't like they were surprised. But what I realized after about 100 one-on-one clients, I've had over 460 now at this point. After about 100, what I started to do is take things away first, then start giving them strategic things to focus on. Because I realized if all I was doing was adding things to their plate, it would create more of the frustration that they came to me to help relieve, Exactly. And so making things easier is actually, look, you can make things harder for the short term and you will achieve short-term results. But if you want to sustain things over time, and this is true, by the way, for everything, for fitness, for gardening, for relationships, everything. And so let's talk about these 6 dials or switches that go into high performance success.
You said a word, fitness. Nobody would argue that you don't go to the gym and kill yourself for a week, a month, right? Or a week every 3 months, whatever. And nobody will argue that you would not get long-term results if you do that. But somehow people want long-term results in life with these spurts of productivity that are killing us, right? They're killing ourselves. They're killing our relationships. They're taking away the happiness. So another thing that I wanted to mention, I want to be very honest here. There are going to be sucky days. Sometimes it's going to suck, okay?
Some days you wake up.
Yeah, the north every single day is to do my work with passion, to serve, and to feel happy at the end of the day, even though I might have had difficult moments during the day. I never have a bad day. I have a difficult moment. in a day. So I just want to say that because some people think like, you're all happy and stuff and it works for you. I'm like, no, this works. It's based on science. Do you want me to go ahead and with the 6 habits?
Yeah, I do want to mention something that you just said though, because I think the comment you made about having difficult moments, no bad days. I think that's actually really important to say to talk about right now, because I'll just tell you, and I've been transparent about this on the show, but for about the last 2 months, I've been in and out of some sort of state of, I would hesitate to call it depression. I would actually just call it like a malaise about what's happening in our country. And this is a nonpartisan thing. You all know where I come from. It's just the anger and the discord and the fact that we've let people who aren't qualified to run, Kentucky Fried Chicken franchises be in charge of major parts of our country. And it's just like, oh man. And so my point is, it's okay if you look at the world. It's okay if you look at the state of families or food or relationships or health or business, what you help people with. It's okay to look at the world and feel that, oh man, gosh, it's just so hard. And it's also okay to look at your situation and to go, man, it's really hard right now, because you know what? It's really hard right now. Like it's really, like, if you're in any business. So that's okay. But what you just said, I think, is actually really important, which is there's no bad days. There's only just difficult moments. Okay. And so, I just think that was a really important point to kind of anchor in on. And I do appreciate your transparency, because the standard for a thought leader is to have, I always joke with people. I say, like, when people drive to church, they argue with their spouse the whole way to church. But then as soon as they pull in the church parking lot, they're like, hey, hi, everything's great. Oh, it's great. Like, hey, how are you? Oh, great. Like, it's such a fake thing that we do. And in the personal development world, we do the same thing. So, like, you wake up in the morning, you're all depressed, and then you jump on a show like this and you're like, hey, what's up? My life is amazing. It's perfect. But it's not. Okay. And nobody's life is like that. So as you're a leader in your niche as well, I'm talking to you as you're watching the show, just remember that sometimes a little transparency goes a long way, and to say it's been hard for everyone. And I really appreciated you saying that. So thank you. Yes. So now I'll get into the 6, because I love where you went with that. I just thought it was really important to talk about that.
Thank you. So the first habit is clarity. And to make it a habit, we're adding the verb seek.
Okay.
So seek clarity. I'm going to just go through them, and then we can play.
Go through all, and then I saw Barry and who else? Somebody else put the thank you, Barry, who put the first 5 in chat. So I appreciate that. Oh,
you guys are amazing.
So thank you. It helps you learn better if you take
notes.
Take notes publicly like that. So I appreciate that. Yes. So the first one is to seek clarity. Why don't you do all 6, and then we'll go into 1 or 2 of them.
The second one is energy, and it is to generate energy, right? Just like a power plant. The power plant doesn't have energy, right? It just transfers through it. So seek energy. Generate energy. Raise necessity. I'm going to go over each one of them.
Say that third one again. Raise
necessity.
Raise necessity. Okay.
Some people call this agency. Raise necessity. Increase productivity. And this is not more on your to-do list. I'll talk about it. Increase productivity. Develop influence. And the 6 is demonstrate courage. And these are habits that the people that we studied, and I've been working on this in myself for the last 3 years, we work on this at least I work on it every single morning and every single night as I evaluate myself in each one of these habits.
All right. So seek clarity, generate energy, raise necessity, increase productivity, develop influence, and demonstrate courage. So those are the 6. I'm going to throw these up on a slide real quick so that you can, if you're watching, you can just take a screenshot of this if you want to. Seek clarity, generate energy, raise necessity, increase productivity, develop influence, demonstrate courage. Now, I know some of those are self-explanatory. Some of them are not necessarily. So let's start into this list, and maybe you can even give us some examples of some of the people that you've worked with and how you've worked on this. Where do you want to start? Which one do you want to start on?
I want to start with the first one because,
Okay.
the day I sat across a very elegant table from a CEO of a very good big company, and I asked him, what do you want? I mean, I was already hired, so all the, all that preparation, like months of negotiations were done. I mean, there as his coach, what do you want? Where in your life are you certain, where do you have certainty in your life? Or where do you need to find clarity in your life? I was talking another language to him.
Wow.
Super successful person. And at the end of that question, he said, what do you mean? What do I want? You tell me.
Wow.
He said, you tell me. And then he had 12 high-level senior executive vice presidents reporting to him. And I did the same exercise with each one of them. And out of the 12, 10, as if they were they had mental powers, said, I don't know, you tell me. They were working their asses off. And the company, the products they were just not hitting the target. And the exam, I'm like, guys, if you're not clear, if you don't ask yourself in every task that you do every day, if you don't ask yourself, am I clear about why am I doing this particular task? Am I clear of where am I going? Actually, let me ask you something, guys, and you can participate in the chat.
Yeah.
Tell me one area of your life in which you have certainty, in which you're absolutely clear.
Okay. So in chat right now, type in one area that you have certainty. You have your absolute clarity. Okay. So I could put something in there like I love my kids and I am passionate about seeing them grow into great people. That I have no doubt about that. Okay. Another one that I could put in there if I was going to answer this, the question, say the question one more time so I get the question exactly right. What's
what
one
you feel absolutely certain about in your life right now? So you feel absolutely certain about the passion and the love you have for your children.
Yes. Okay. So I'll give you another one. I'm just priming the pump here. I want you to put your answer into chat. I would say I am absolutely certain. I would talk about our country already. That our country needs new leadership across the board, and I'm willing to be part of that. Okay. So there's another one. Okay. So Anita, the first one, thank you, Anita. She said, I'm very clear about my faith. Good. I like that one too. By the way, I'm very clear about mine too. I am passionately in love with the God that I serve and just honor Jesus and everything that he does. So there's another one. Okay. So I think this is really great. Brian says, I'm certain about faith, marriage, and finances, which is great, by the way. I would love it.
Great.
Good.
What if I ask you the opposite? What do you feel absolutely not certain about in your life right now?
Okay, so you could put either one in chat. I'd love to hear from you. You could put something that you're certain about or something that you're uncertain about. Like in your life or in general. Like, could you say I'm uncertain about the future of the stock market or something like that? Or
There's
is
something
it about
that
your life?
Affects you in your life.
Okay,
right?
all right.
Something that will affect you in your life. If you have a lot of money in the market, that might affect you so much. Only your millions are in the market.
All right, absolutely certain, Barry says about his family. Very good, very good. Okay, so keep going, and I'll bring up some of these responses as they start to come in. It lags, my chat lags just a little bit. So.
Perfect. So we're talking here big picture. When I wake up every morning, I ask myself, I wake up, I do my prayers before I go to work. I ask myself these 6 questions. Where do I need to seek clarity today? Right. So we're going from big pictures. I'm certain about my family. I'm certain about my faith. I'm certain about these things, but there's a bunch of things that I'm not certain about. And just asking the question, remember, it's a habit. Where do I need to seek clarity today?
So you ask yourself that question in the morning?
Yeah, I have it on a paper and I printed it out and I fill it out every day.
Oh, really? Okay. So every day you have a little worksheet that, and one of the first questions is, where do I need to seek clarity today? Okay. I like that. I actually, that's really, really good. So if I was to do that, so for example, one of the things that I'm working on right now, I've got 3 or 4 different product ideas for the next 2 or 3 months, but you can't do them all at the same time.
Exactly.
So I'm trying to think about what's the one that I should prioritize, and that would be one of the things that I would write down in that list. Would that be correct?
Yeah. So for example, I just submitted a really nice proposal and I was finishing it last week. It was Wednesday. And I asked myself, okay, tomorrow is Thanksgiving. Where do I need to seek clarity today? And I really just asking that question is magic because it came in my mind immediately that I needed one more detail from my client before I submitted that proposal, because I used their words on my proposals, right? So I needed to ask that person one more question. I don't know if I would not have asked me that in the morning when my brain levels are low and I'm all mellow and I just prayed and meditated. When I'm in that moment of joy, I don't know that it would have come to me. And I think that's going to be the key to nail this proposal that I just sent. And I just, schedule a call for Monday. We had it yesterday. I have the information that I need and I submitted everything last night.
Gosh, that is so good. That is so good. I had written down on my notes to ask you about morning routine. So I want to do that in just a moment and I know that's a little bit of a diversion from what we decided we were going to talk about, but I have noticed what you just said is really true, which is in the morning, like when you wake up first thing in the morning, when you're laying in bed or when you go sit down in your office for the first time and maybe pray a little bit or meditate, your brain is in a very calm, extraordinarily receptive mode. Exactly. And then at the end of the day, so today I will wrap up my day around 4:30 in the office. I take my daughter out to youth group out at our church, and then I take my 2-year-old for a walk for about an hour. And at the end of the day, this is how I always describe my brain at the end of the day. It's like this, because you've just been doing so much that the wavelength is just totally off. Well, take advantage of that early wavelength because that's really when your receptor is particularly dialed in. And if you're looking for divine clarity or just your own subconscious clarity, that's a really great time to do it. So I think that's really great.
Yeah, it is. And this is not an opinion of Ed or an opinion of mine. There's a tremendous amount of research to studying the brain, and the receptiveness is higher. But Ed, you said something really, really nice. You said the divine connection. I always tell my team members, like, sometimes I feel like I'm cheating through life. I mean, I'm cheating. And the other day I said that to another person that is not part of my team. And she said, well, now really, you have all of these things that you do and you know when to do them. I'm like, oh yeah, I've been blessed with beautiful mentors that have taught me these things. I mean, this didn't come out of my head. Yep. Right. So clarity is the first thing. And when you do this on a daily basis, then it becomes small. So I see people writing, I'm very clear about the family, the faith, unclear, uncertain about the society. Yep. But then you have Brian here, uncertain about how to develop and offer several business ideas. So that's still big, smaller but big. In the morning, you're going to ask the one thing, your priority for that day.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's how you seek. That's why it's a habit, because you're seeking clarity.
So, and the question ultimately ends with, what is it today that I'm going to do to get to?
Where do I need to seek clarity today? Yeah.
Where do I need to seek clarity today? So it ends up in a action item that should clear some things off of your plate.
Oh my God. Right. Yes.
Good.
Yes. It just, everything that's unimportant starts to disappear. All the distractions start, you look at them like, I don't need to seek clarity there. The second habit is energy. And I love this one because this is about bringing in the right level of energy for the tasks that you have at hand that day.
Right.
Right. I don't bring this level of energy to a conversation with maybe with my husband, but I show up here differently. So today I'm here and then I'm teaching a class right after here. In the morning, the question is, where are my levels of energy in the right place today?
So give me the question one more time.
Are my levels of energy in the right place today for what I have to do today? Right.
Are my levels of energy in the right place for
physical energy? I'm talking about physical energy. Immediately having a croissant for breakfast gets out of my mind.
Okay.
Right. It's physical energy that I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
How are you showing up? How are you showing up? So I have to show up here for you and your audience. After this, I'm teaching a class. I have to show up powerfully, hopefully.
Yeah.
Put together. So today I didn't go for a super strenuous workout. This morning I did my morning routines, and then I did a really calming yoga class, because that's the level of energy I wanted to have, a calming but powerful energy. And in my particular case, it's very hard. It's very easy for me to go really high level energy. And sometimes I need to work on it. So it's very personal.
Okay. All right. So you ask yourself the energy question. It's actually interesting that you mentioned this today. So yesterday, you ever have one of those days where it feels like you are in quicksand? I mean, I like dragged myself to my desk in the morning. I had a call. Thank God I had a call early, like 8:45. And I usually don't do anything before 10. I mean, I'm talking about work. I don't.
We get it.
I do my morning routine, but I don't normally talk to people before 10. So my time. But I had an early call because the guy was in Central Time and I was doing an interview. And so I got going with that. But I remember at one point yesterday, this is me telling you full transparency, Ed Rush stuff. I actually laid my head on my desk in the middle. I'd never do that. I was just like, oh, I was so off. My energy was so off. So this morning when I woke up, I said, well, I'm not having another one of those days. So I walked outside, I got my coffee, and I literally walked outside and I grabbed my kettlebells, which are sitting right there. And all I did was set my timer for 10 minutes. And I said, I'm just going to move.
Yeah.
Just for 10 minutes. I did 10 minutes of squats and kettlebell swings, very lightweight. And after that, I actually felt really good. And and my wife came down in the middle of this. She's like, what are you doing? And I said, I just decided I had to take charge of my energy today. That's what I told her. I said, I have to just take charge of my energy because yesterday was so bad. I had to like do something different to get going. It only took 10 minutes to get the blood flowing, muscles moving a little bit. All of a sudden I feel better. And it's amazing what happens when you just move your body just a little bit. You actually can start to feel better.
Exactly.
So I pulled out my Habit Bull, which many of you know that I use this little app called Habit Bull. And I just set myself a goal. I can't believe I'm saying this publicly now. Just 10 minutes a day for 100 days. Okay.
Oh, I love that.
So the idea is, and this goes back to what you said about sustainability. If I had put an hour a day for 100 days, I would have done about 3 days in a row, then missed a day and felt guilty about it, never done it again. But I said I could do 10 minutes a day because even if I'm just about to go to sleep and I forgot, I could still get up and do a little yoga, stretching or whatever. Exactly. And all it was 10 minutes a day of movement. Now, my point isn't to get to telling you to do 10 minutes a day of movement. My point was the idea of what you just taught, which is control or generating your energy. The idea is you're in charge of that lever. Now I know there's physical things going on and blood and all the other stuff that sometimes you just don't feel well because you got physical issues. But for the most part, you control that dial. And what you do with your body can be like this backwards hack into the thing that happens in your brain. So back to you.
I love that. And it really is what works for you, right? So Ed is talking about what works for him, and for me, something different.
Yeah, like you did yoga this morning, for example.
You did too?
No, you said you did yoga this morning. Like you needed that kind of energy, right?
Yes.
And by the way, it's interesting what you just said because the lever that you control. Some days you wake up and you have like there's days I'll wake up and I've got a presentation in front of 500 people, and I'm like. Well, that's the day when 10 minutes of meditation would be the thing to do instead of 10 minutes. 10 minutes of kettlebells will throw you over, So the idea is to control that right there. Brian, the name of the app is Habit Bull, Bull, Habit Bull, and it's free. It's free in the App Store. I should probably have done some affiliate thing with them because I mention it all the time. And then Billy said, I did my 10 minutes of kettlebell and burpees. And I haven't done a burpee in about 10 years, man, since I left the Marine Corps. All right. So
Brian has a very interesting question that I would like to address.
Okay, great. So the question is, when you're asking yourself, this is the one, right? Mm-hmm. What do I feel uncertain about? How do you keep from becoming discouraged?
Brian, thank you for asking that question, because what I want you to ask is, where do I need to seek clarity today? Where do I need to seek clarity today? The words and the way we ask questions to ourselves really make all the difference. It's not about where do I feel uncertain. Oh my God, I can give you a list of 10 times and then I'm gonna have a really bad moment.
Right.
Where do I need to seek clarity today? What that does, at least for me, I'm very committed to this habit. I see my to-do list in front of me, and if I don't see it, I pick it up because I have it writing, right? I see my
Yep.
to-do list. What are about the 10 things, I have 10 things on my list. Last Wednesday, I knew I needed more clarity. Only after I asked that question, I knew I needed to seek more clarity on one bullet that I wanted to put on that proposal for that person.
Yep.
Just one bullet. Tell me, isn't that inspirational and motivational that you're like, I got it. It's that one thing.
Yeah.
Imagine one of those a day. Imagine one of those a day, one of those hits of, I call it a hit of inspiration. So it's in the way you ask the question and the energy that you're putting into receiving, like, oh, where do I need clarity today? Where do I need to seek? What is something that I can do something about today if I get more clear?
Yeah, I like that.
I hope that helps, because the last thing I want to is overwhelm you.
That's right. It should make you feel better, and it should make you feel lighter, and it should be easier. Okay. What I found, look, there's things in business that are challenging at times that you need to learn how to do and you need to push through. But for the most part, my experience as an advisor is the biggest breakthroughs I had with my clients were when they went, oh man, that's so easy. Like when it felt light and easy is when the answer was right. Okay. So that's the way you should feel. By the way, for those of you who just joined us, welcome. My name's Ed Rush. I'm here with my good friend and longtime client, Carmen Pizarro. We're talking about breaking through high performance barriers and totally getting it done. We're covering 6 habits that all high performers demonstrate. In the original discussion that we had way back in the beginning of the show, she mentioned a study where they identified 50 key metrics and then narrowed it down to 6. The 6 were seeking clarity. I'll pull the slide up real quick. Generating energy, raising necessity, increasing productivity, developing influence, and demonstrating courage. So what I would love to do, and by the way, thank you for your comments and questions. Just really, really great chat today. What I would love to do is I want to shift to one. I'm going to actually move to one that I'm particularly interested in. And we didn't plan this. I just want to pull the one up that I want to talk about. Let's talk about demonstrating courage, because I think we're in an age right now where this one thing may be the most important requirement for entrepreneurs to have, at least for the next 4 years and probably for the next 40 years. And I've got some ideas on what that means to you as a person and as an entrepreneur. But I want to hear from you first. What were your findings when it came to the people you were working with, when it came to courage?
So 3 things. We found out that they were actively seeking courage, seeking opportunities to show courage on a daily basis, right? And maybe you don't have the opportunity daily, but at least a few times a week. And what that meant for them, and this is where we came up with the questions, is where am I stepping up in my life? So the first thing, that's why I asked you first, where are you clear? Where do you feel you have the energy and stamina to run through your week? Where do you feel you're stepping up in your personal life or in your professional life right now? Where are you stepping up today? Because stepping up requires courage.
So the question you ask in the morning is, where do I need to step up today, or where am I stepping up today?
The first thing is, because people hear courage and they get a little bit like, whoa, I don't want
yeah.
Too scary. I'm going to be scared. No. It's not about being scared. Let me ask you, where are you stepping up today? In what area of your life are you stepping up today?
So it's something that you're currently doing. Is that the idea?
Yes, that you're doing well. And the idea is guys, you need courage to step up. Let's say you're stepping up on your health routine, on your eating habits, on your business, on the way you lead. You're stepping up on your speaking career, on your consulting. You're expanding your business. It takes courage to do that. Yeah. So the question is just to establish a baseline. We do things that require courage every single day.
Yeah.
Every single week.
Yeah.
However, when I talk about courage, people tend to shy away a little. So the question that is going to make you think, that I want you to actually share in the chat if you want, where am I backing down in my life right now?
So
where am I backing down? Where am I like hiding? What area of my life I am hiding from?
And this is the thing to fix, right? So the question is, where am I backing down or where am I hiding? I love this. I love this. Love it. Okay. So let me give you some examples as business owners where I've discovered that some of the people that I've worked with in the past, or present for that matter, have backed down. Okay. So I will very often, I'll have a client who will come in and they'll be talking to me about this one team member that they brought on because they were going to bring her into the sales team, and they never have performed, and they've been counseled on their performance and it's never happened. And in the middle of the coaching session, I'll say, so are you going to get rid of her today or tomorrow? And he's like, well, I guess today, and I go, so are you going to do it or am I? And they'll go, oh, I guess I'm going to do it. And my point in saying that is my client knew that person on their team needed to move along about 6 months ago, but they didn't have they were holding themselves back because they were, they wanted to care for the person, or they wanted to make sure that they weren't at fault or whatever. And when they realized that the best thing you can do for that team member, I mean this, the best thing, if that person's not performing in their role, then they're not in the role that God designed for them. And the best thing you can do is let them go so that they can go find the role that God truly designed for them. And when you realize that, that's courage. Another one would be somebody would say, Ed, I've always wanted to have a podcast, but I'm always nervous. Like what would happen if I mess up, or what if I say the wrong thing, And we live in a culture where I've done 105 of these episodes. I guarantee if you go back and listen to 105 hours, you will find something that you could use against me in a political campaign. Okay. People say like you say dumb stuff all the time. In fact, you say dumb things. Sometimes you don't even know you said dumb things. So, and you didn't mean it. You just came out the wrong way. Right. So my point is, there's another example, right? So maybe I need to get myself out there every day, but I'm holding myself back because I'm nervous about what people say. Like, what will people say if I do that? Those are a couple of examples. What other examples do you have of areas that people may be holding themselves back?
Even when I do this every day, sometimes it's calling somebody.
Just making a phone call. So is that a family member or a team member or like a client or a prospect?
Every day, somebody. I'm an introvert and I would rather send an email, but I know that sometimes you have to pick up the phone, and it pays off to pick up the phone. And somehow that's not something that I enjoy.
Nope.
So at least twice a week, my demonstrating seeking courage, because I seek the opportunity to be courageous, speaking up the phone, either following up on a client, we are all in sales, so that's kind of painful for me too. But now I seek the courage to pick up the phone and make that offer to that person, or call my mom, for God's sakes.
It's interesting what you said about the phone. It used to be, I don't know, probably like 3 or 4 years ago, it used to be everything went to voicemail. And now what I've realized, so first of all, I'm like you, I would prefer not to talk to anybody all day. Yeah. I mean that. Like, I'm happy doing my thing, but it's interesting what happens when you call now. So many people are getting called from spam, your phone even now says spam risk or whatever it says when it pops up. So many people are getting phone calls constantly from all these numbers that aren't theirs, that when they see a name they recognize, a lot of times they'll answer it, especially if it's like, what, wait, why would she be calling me right now? They're almost like so curious about why that is. I have a friend of mine. He's the most connected guy that I know. I mean, he knows everybody everywhere. And every single month he calls me. Every single month he calls me. And finally I said, Jeff, you're the most connected guy I know. You call me every month. I said, how many people do you call every month? And it was over 1,000 people. Over 1,000 people. I want you to think about that. Now, I'm not telling you to call 1,000 people, by the way. My point is, you don't become the most connected person I know
exactly
by hiding over in the corner. So just a little thing like a phone call. That's a really cool idea, by the way. So who do you need to call? Your mom, your dad, your brother, your prospect. There's probably somebody, as you're watching this, there's probably somebody that you talked to over the last 6 months who should have become a client of yours, but they haven't because you didn't follow up with them. Now will be a great day to follow up. So I like this. Brian says, backing down from challenging myths and negative self-beliefs. I hear from others, backing down from speaking truth. Boom. Love it. It's strange. We deal with people and we're afraid to make a phone call. And this is, Billy's like, a badass martial arts instructor too. That always cracks me up, Billy. You've heard me say this before, because I go speak to these martial arts events where these guys are like, 7th degree black belts, and they're like the biggest badasses, but then like asking someone for the sale, they're like, I don't want to do that. You're like, wait a second, you kick people in the face, but you can't ask somebody to, so I think that's fun. Thank you for saying that.
He's right. We deal with people and we're afraid to make a phone call. It is true. As an introvert, something I learned from a coach, I always said, how can I be an introvert if I shine on a stage? The more people I have looking at me, the better I do.
Yep.
And she said, because you're alone on the stage, you're with you, and that's it. Nobody else is there. Really, those people are far away. For an introvert, is that one-on-one interaction, a small talk. Kill me now, like small talk.
Interesting. That's interesting. Some of the people that I know. So first of all, it's interesting what you just said about being on the stage. The people that I know, and I obviously I'm connected to quite a few people who spend their lives like I do up on stages. Mm-hmm. Most people are like that, who would prefer to stand up who come alive. Like when I stand up in front of 400 people on stage, I could do that for days and days and days and feel great about it. And I would love every moment of it, and I get excited about it, and it's great. And the moment I get off stage, I'm like, get me to the hotel room, And most of the speakers that I know that really do come alive on the stage are like that. They're great in front of big groups of people, but individually it can be draining. Frankly, a lot of that to do that. But that doesn't necessarily. I don't know. I mean, you're not on stage alone. I mean, you're just there, but you are controlling the conversation. That's one part of the thing. You're kind of in charge of what's happening there.
Absolutely in charge.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So on courage, I wanna ask you a last question, because this is a question that I ask so I do these habits daily, and then at the end of the week I look at, how was my week? How was I? So one question that I have written down here that I ask myself every week is, what level of confidence do I have in seeking my dreams? And what would give me even more confidence? I'm never afraid to ask for more. What level of confidence do I have in seeking my dreams? And what can I do to get more? What would happen if I were even more confident? And it's funny, when I ask people this question, everyone, including myself, if you ask me now, how confident are you? I'm like, I'm super confident.
Yeah.
Super confident. I'm a confident person. And then I'm like, where in your life could you improve your confidence levels? Oh, wait, there's these 10 areas where I really can improve my confidence level.
So how does the first question go? How you worded the first question is actually really important. What
level of confidence do I have in seeking my dreams? That's the first part.
So how is someone supposed to answer that? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, or?
Yeah, on a scale of 1 to 10, actually. That's
okay. It's interesting. That's interesting. Well, because 10 moves. That's the other interesting thing about that. Like let's say I gave myself an 8 now, and a 10 would be a certain level of confidence. If I got to 10, I'd probably still give myself an 8, because 10 would be past where so.
Well, usually this is more on the how to, right? Usually you know what to do. Everyone here in the call, you know what to do. So what level of confidence do you have in seeking your dreams? Well, probably you're confident. Oh, I'm confident that I can seek my dreams. Usually people give me a very positive response on this part, whether it's an 8, a 7, it's like, yeah, no, I am confident. I know, I know what to do. And the second part of the question is, okay, and what would give you even more confidence? Even if you're at a 10, when I ask that question, and I'm asking that question to you now, what will give you even more confidence? What things can you do today that will give you more confidence in achieving that goal or that dream in the long run, right? But today, everything about this habit is, what can we do about the habit today? Small, little, pequeño.
Pequeño. Yo hablo un poquito de español. I almost started today in Spanish. I don't know if you know that Maria Carmen comes from Spain. So Barry says, is 10 confidence or arrogance? What do you think?
What do you think?
Well, it's interesting. So I find that some of the most arrogant people that I know are the least confident people. In fact, they're the most insecure people. Like I would give them 2s on confidence. The reason they're arrogant is because they're trying to hide. They're trying to hide over the fact that they're not
So if I ask those person, because I have had the arrogant clients, if I ask that person, where what was the question on clarity or backing down? Where are you backing down in your life right now? They will give me they would not stop talking. They have a long list.
Interesting.
I'm backing down here, and I compensate by showing off this and this way. And they don't think they're arrogant. They come across that way.
Yeah.
But I have a belief system that is that everyone, it's my belief, everyone has a good intention.
Yeah.
One person wants to feel better, and
no question.
they don't want to feel victim, so they show off a different way that comes across inauthentic, but they have a good intention.
Yeah. By the way, it's interesting that you mentioned that. That was the secret to that single sentence you just said right there was the secret decoder ring for me to understand the American political structure and the party system across the board. Most of the people in one party believe the other party's either evil or dumb. Most of the people in the other party believe that the other party is either evil or dumb. And when you meet people across the political spectrum and you realize they all mean well, they really do. They all look, even if they're awful people, they're doing their awful things because they feel like they're going to get to some end that eventually is good. They all have a way of explaining it. Okay. So their intentions are almost always good. Now, even though their intentions are sincere, that doesn't mean they're not sincerely wrong. I'm not saying they're right, but what I am saying is that their intentions are almost always sincere. And if you can start there, you can get a lot of headway in a conversation. So,
oh my God, yes, the basis of negotiation, right?
It's exactly right. That's exactly right. So, hey, we got to wrap up in just a few minutes. I've got a couple questions that just came in. Before I do that, I just want to mention many of you took advantage of this course. I'm going to actually pull this website up, and I want you to just mention really quickly. I think you're launching this this program again. It's edrush.com/MARI, and you did this course. I think we talked about it, and I promoted it back in the summer at some point, and some of our members actually went through this. This is the 8. I'm going to show the website real quick. It's the 8-week Amplify Your Voice Mastery. And just talk really quickly. I mean, like maybe 30, 45 seconds on this program, and then tell people how they can get access to it. So go ahead.
So one of the things that I do very well is to teach people how to increase their performance, their persuasion, and their influence. And I put all of the aspects that will lead a person to have every tool necessary to have a higher level of performance in every area of their lives. With this particular course is with an emphasis on persuasion and negotiation for entrepreneurs that are leaders. So the best person to take this course is somebody who is in a leadership position. And we go from who are you as a leader? I love assessments, so we do different assessments. Who are you as a leader? Who do you need to follow you? How are you showing up? And then I give you the strategies week by week, specific tools that you're gonna put in a really nice toolbox that we all have, so that you can start showing up as a real influencer in your area of expertise. What I want you is to have the tools to change the section of the world you're designed to change, right? Not the whole thing. Ed and I have a piece, you have a piece, so that you can influence people to follow your lead, basically. Yeah.
So this is 8 weeks, and this is a group coaching program. Is that
it is a group coaching program, and we start this year. I'm doing this cohort. I'm doing something different. I'm adding a bonus that is a 2-day intensive. And it's next week. So we dive really deep into the leadership. Who are you as a leader, and who do you want to be as a leader? Because I've noticed every time I teach it, the majority of the questions is on the leadership part as it relates to you as a leader, right? Not to the others, to you as a leader and as a person. So we start next week with a 2-day intensive on leadership, personal leadership.
All right. So head over to the website that's below. Check that out. It's an incredible deal, by the way. That below is my affiliate link to her program. Yeah. And I've had great reviews from the people that went through that. So thank you for everything that you've done there. So let's do this really quickly. We've got just a few minutes. I've got one question, and let's answer this question. Then I'll let you do a quick wrap up. Brian says, quickly, can you elaborate? I say quickly. He says, can you elaborate on what you mean by raising necessity?
Quickly, here's the thing. You have your goals, you have your dream, you have the energy, you have the courage, you have everything. And you're not taking action. Sometimes we forget that what is it that we really need. We have our wants clear, we have everything's gone, but we need to work. This is a habit, right? We have to raise the necessity level, the level at which we need the thing we want.
Yeah.
There's an energy there. And you know what? I've done this exercise with myself and with clients. And when we go through the questions, what's your level of agency on this particular topic that you feel stuck? Can we raise the necessity? And sometimes the answer is no. And that means we're working on the wrong thing for you.
Right. That's right.
So it's a very, very nuanced habit, but it's how can I raise necessity today in the things I have to complete today?
I mean, so
you're not doing the right thing.
For example, let's take just something that everyone can connect to, which is just pure body health fitness stuff. Everyone I talk to always knows they need to lose 10 pounds or whatever, or move more, or walk more, or work out a little bit more. But most people, frankly, and this is the reason why the health and fitness world is so successful, most people don't do it, and if they do it for a short period of time. But the moment someone finds out they have diabetes or a heart disease or some problem, then they get into action and they begin to change their life because the necessity went through the roof, because they realize that they're going to die if they don't take action. And so there are some things that you can do to artificially create necessity. For example, you could join a mastermind group and tell everyone in your mastermind group, I'm committing to 100 days of moving 10 minutes a day. And if I don't do this, this is the penalty I'm going to give myself. Okay. And I've had someone, I've heard of somebody going this far on the penalty. I mean this. This guy who was a Jewish man wrote a check. He wrote a $10,000 check to the Nazi party of San Francisco or North Bay or whatever. It was like the opposite group. He wrote a $10,000 donation check and said, if I don't do this for 90 days, I'm going to send the check. Now, he never sent the check for obvious reasons, because it was such a big deal that he could not miss his 10 minutes a day or whatever he was committing to. My point is, that's extreme raising of necessity, but there's things you can do publicly. There's commitments that you can make. There's ways that you can demonstrate your goals, that you can raise a level of necessity. But I think what you just said is interesting, which is, if you can't, then maybe it's not the right goal for you, right? Isn't that, it's interesting.
I was working with a client, and one of the things she's like, I used to work as on the side as a personal trainer and health coach. And she's like, one of the reasons I hire you is because I also want to do these things. I'm like, okay, fine, let's do it. And we did all of this work, like 2-3 sessions, and then she was not following through. Not following through is so common. Not following through. And it almost felt heavy. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to lose this client. What's happening here? And when this was like 2 years ago, when I had a conversation with her, there was no necessity to raise, because it was too much of a goal. It was not something that she even needed at that moment.
Yeah.
Now, a smaller goal, a smarter goal for her. Smart goals, they have to be they have to be measurable, and they have to be doable. A smarter goal for her would be a complete, not the opposite, but a revised version of that. So we were following, and I fall prey of that. My early days of applying this model of like, let's raise necessity, and we couldn't, because that thing was not there. And for her age and everything that was happening in her life, the 10 minutes a day was the right thing to do. She was an older lady.
Interesting.
The participation in running a marathon was not the right goal, even though
no, not for me. All right, so here are the 6 again. Seek clarity, generate energy, raise necessity, increase productivity, develop influence, demonstrate courage. We actually talked about 4 in depth. We talked about 4 of the 6, which is actually more than we were even planning on doing, but we had a little bit of fun with some of those. So I'd love to have you back. We can maybe hit the other 2, and then you have another topic we had talked about even doing about an S curve, which maybe we'll do that in the beginning of the year, and have a little fun with that. The website's below, edrush.com/MARI. Final thoughts. What do you got?
Oh my God, guys. High performance means being happy with yourself in all areas of your life. Don't let anybody happy, content, joyful. Don't let anybody tell you the opposite.
Okay. So I know that was a final thought, but I just want to turn this over for just a second, because this is really powerful. Most people view high performance as being dissatisfied with themselves long enough to get to where they want to be. It sounds to me like you just turned that completely on its head. And you said that high performance is being happy with yourself. Is that what you just said?
In all areas of your life, yes.
I really, really like that. Okay, so there was one of the Harry Potter movies. There was this mirror that, if you remember the story, Harry Potter was looking at it, and the mirror showed you whatever you wanted. So when Harry saw the mirror, he saw his parents who had passed away, and Dumbledore, the headmaster, said, the mirror shows you whatever you want. And he said this following line. He said, the happiest man in the world would look into the mirror and see himself exactly as he is. And in the moment he said that, I said, that's who I want to be. I want to be the person who has a passion for the future, but sees himself exactly as he is and is perfectly content and happy with that. So I love that. Thank you for bringing it home on that really, really important point. Some really great comments in chat, by the way. And so we're going to wrap up the show, but please do say thank you to Mari for this wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you, Diana, for your awesome comments. Thank you, by the way. You were amazing, as usual. And we'll have you back, okay?
Thank you for having me here. Thank you, everyone, for participating. I love the chat moving. Love you guys.
We'll talk to you soon. EdTalks Live is out.